Well, last night was a great example as to why I believe in the Patriots. Look, I'm not even mad about the loss. I'm more mad about the amount of penalties that the Bills drew. Absolutely ridiculous. But we got beat, man. We didn't deserve to win that game. Drake May's the truth. Stephon Diggs is still great. Seriously, New England, good game. Anyway, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Week 5 NFL reaction. We are coming off of another absolutely bizarre week here. And before we hop right into it, we got a couple of plugs as always. So don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel, Waggle, or Prize Picks. By using code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Waggle, you'll save a discount on any other awesome products. And also by using my code at sign up on Prize Picks, you're going to guarantee yourself to win a free $50 with your first $5 entry. But always play responsibly, and let's get into the video. Okay, folks, so starting off Week 5 on Thursday, we had the 49ers stunning the Rams, defeating them by a field goal 26-23. Couple of quick things about the 49ers this game. For one, they absolutely have a quarterback battle, a quarterback question, a quarterback uncertainty right now. You got Mac Jones, who fit Kyle Shanahan like a glove and is playing night and day better than Brock Purdy has played all year, but they're also paying Brock Purdy a boatload of money, which means when he's healthy to play, they're going to have to face a harsh reality. The rest of the offense, though, rushing was very lackluster for San Francisco, but then again, San Francisco does what they do best, and if they can't run, they throw. Kendrick Bourne having 10 for 142, McCaffrey having 82 and a score, Tungs having 41 and another score. On top of that, you have Steady Eddie being incredibly clutch, going 4 for 4 with 14 points, but how can we forget the defense and the extremely critical fumble recovery that they forced out of Kyren Williams, allowing the game to go to OT and allowing San Francisco to ultimately come out on top. Now, looking at the Rams, it's a little bit of a sad story. Matt Stafford, 389, 3 touchdowns. You had Adams, who had 88 yards, Puka, who had another 10 receptions for 85 and a score. Tutu Atwell had 72 yards, Kyren Williams had 8 for 66 and 2 touchdowns, and it just still wasn't enough. And when it comes to the Rams defense, yeah, I know that, they ended up allowing more points and losing the game, but honestly, I think that they played pretty decent, all things considered. They didn't allow a touchdown after the second quarter of the game, but they also couldn't contain the 49ers offense from driving down and getting in kicking range time and time again. Certainly a crazy way to kick off Week 5, but it's funny to say that this honestly looks pretty normal considering the rest of the things that happened this week. Now we have the Vikings beating the Browns in a tea and crumpets game 21-17. Man, fuck that game. Sure, the Vikings may have won, but to me, it still feels like a putrid win. Maybe the fact that Jordan Addison was benched the first half for missing the fucking team walkthrough? Or Will the Thrill missing a kick because he hit the damn camera wire? Vikings also had a damn fumbling problem again, losing 2 more of them this game. Honestly, might have been one of the worst coach games by KOC I've ever seen too. His dumbass little screen calls, his predictable play calling, this was not fun. It felt like more of a chore to watch this than I got enjoyment out of it. However, I will say good game by Justin Jefferson, having 123 yards on the Browns. As far as Cleveland goes, Dylan Gabriel, I don't think he played a bad game. Obviously, certain situations where he was a little green, but I thought he was pretty clean. Quinshon Judkins, he lit the Vikings up 110 yards. He destroyed my Prize Picks parlay within the first quarter of the game. As far as receiving goes, it was carried by the tight ends, both touchdowns coming out of Harold Fannin and David Njoku. However, I will say it was quite impressive that the Vikings battered O-line was able to hold Myles Garrett to 0 sacks on the day. It was one of the best things I saw out of the Vikings. Holy shit, look at Cleveland's punter. Corey Bjorka has had 8 for 360. Oh my god. My opinion, this was a pretty lousy game, but a very much needed win by the Minnesota Vikings. And Jordan Addison, stop being a stupid fuck. Now moving on, we have the Jets getting killed by the Cowboys 37-22, and exactly what I said would happen on Wednesday happened, because it's the fucking Jets. I said they were going to go out, they were going to get whipped for the first 3 quarters, and then score 75% of their points in the fourth. Lo and behold, here we are. Dude, the Jets have got to be one of the dumbest and worst teams I have ever actually seen. They are horribly led, horribly coached, and it seems like every week when they start scoring points, it's far too late. Looking at Fields here, though, all due respect, 32 completions, 283, 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall had a great day on the ground. Receiving was kind of sporadic, once again led by Garrett Wilson, who had a touchdown and 71 yards. Andrew Beck had a 1-yard reception touchdown, but again, this all happened far too late. Looking at Dallas, Dak Prescott scorched him, 237, 4 touchdowns. Javonte Williams continuing to be an absolute wrecking ball, 16 for 135 and a score. Receiving was led by Ryan Flournoy, 6 for 114 and a touchdown out of him. Pickens had a score. Ferguson had 2, Javonte Williams had 1 through the air. Damn, he must have had a huge fantasy week, holy shit. I'm looking at the defense, who was led by Shamar James. They acquired 5 total sacks on Justin Fields, where 1.5 came from James Houston. Hell of an explosive performance by Dallas and a hell of a shit show by the New York Jets. You know, they're the first team in NFL history to start 0-5 with 0 takeaways. Aaron Glenn, baby. Now we've got the Saints finally getting a win over the New York Giants. I can't act like I saw a ton of this game, but I believe I saw enough. Jackson Dart, he kind of looked like shit, had an awful fumble. I mean, he basically just dropped the damn ball, and then I saw one of his interceptions, which was just as putrid. But he took accountability after the game and basically said, I'm the reason we lost, so that's something. Rushing was pretty lousy, led by Scatbo with 59 yards. Receiving wasn't very impressive either, although Theo Johnson had the 2 receiving touchdowns. And the New York defense apparently wasn't able to get to Spencer Rattler 1 time on the day, which I find pretty damn lousy for a team that I think has a pretty good defense playing against a team that didn't have a win yet. Looking at the Saints now, the albino rhino, 225, 1 touchdown. Rushing led by Kendre Miller there, having 2 more carries than Alvin Kamara too, for anything that would be worth. Receiving was dominated by Rashid Shaheed, only having 4 catches, but 114 yards and a touchdown. And looking at the Saints defense, I mean, they didn't have a sack either on Jackson Dart, which is also, I think, equally as impressive. Obviously, Kool-Aid came up with the 2 picks, but I'm just dumbfounded that in a game with 2 ass teams like this, neither defense was able to get to the quarterback 1 time. Nonetheless, the Saints got out with a much needed win to get a start to their season. And the Giants, well, we'll hope it was just a bad game for Jackson, huh? Now moving on, we have the Colts beating the Raiders 40-6. Listen, there are a lot of problems on the Raiders right now, but the number one problem continues to be the same thing through 5 weeks, and that is none other than Geno Smith. This guy cannot play in Las Vegas. He has thrown 9 interceptions through 5 weeks. And it's not like they're even good or decent picks, like, oh, you know, he tried to make a nice play. No, they're ass. I do think Ashton Jenney had another nice game, though. He had over 100 all-purpose yards, which I think is very important for his career so far. But the Raiders continue to be one of the most miserable teams in football. Looking at the Colts here, Daniel Jones, 20 for 29, 212, 2 touchdowns. I only got to see one of the touchdowns, but it was the one where he scrambled out of the pocket and then sandwiched a fucking laser beam in between 2 defenders for a touchdown. JT, 66 yards, 3.9 yards a carry, but 3 touchdowns. Amir Abdullah had a touchdown. Defense was disruptive as ever, 2 picks, 4 sacks. The Colts are continuing to roll, and Daniel Jones, it's no more of like the what if factor for me at least. This year, in this current situation, he is a legitimately great quarterback right now. I don't know what the fuck happened, but he is playing like he could be top 10. Now we got the Panthers coming back and stunning the Dolphins in a 27-24 victory. This game was actually kind of crazy. For one, why does Bryce Young have to do like one really stupid thing every fucking game and then just turns into like the Hulk? It's crazy. And number 2, how is Rico Dowdle not able to sign somewhere as a starter? This is ridiculous. Last year he was good in Dallas. Then he went to Carolina to join the committee. Chuba got hurt. He got a start and he just threw up 206 rushing yards. Like, that has to be one of the most insane performances of the year, if not the most insane. Tet led receiving 6 for 73. Xavier Legette had probably one of the most insane catches I've seen of his NFL career, and definitely the most insane catch he's had so far this season. Hell of a throw by Bryce Young too, but he kind of laid out in the end zone and snatched this ball in. But it's kind of crazier to me when you look at Miami that they honestly lost this game, because I don't think they really should have. Now, I didn't see the final drive, and I did have people on Twitter lighting me up about Tua having a terrible performance again, so I'll take your word for it. But outside of that, Tua played good, man. 27 for 36, 256, 3 touchdowns. I saw a very nice touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle. A-Chain had an insane touchdown catch as well, pretty much mossed a man. Darren Waller's continuing to be a force in 2025 for the Dolphins. Minkah Fitzpatrick had an interception. Bradley Chubb had probably one of the more rare stat lines you could have had. He had a 1-1-1 in a play. He had a sack, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery all at once. I mean, to be honest, Bryce Young just blatantly shit his pants when he saw Bradley Chubb running at him, but still, very impressive. But even after all those wonderful things that have happened, they still came up short. And honestly, I'm kind of hearing an overwhelming one-sided reaction from the Dolphins fans at this point, and they're actually happy to be losing. And Panthers, guess what? The other team played really good this week, and you guys played better. Now we've got the Broncos taking down the Eagles because Bo Nix turned into the damn Undertaker in the 4th quarter. I'm not gonna lie, in about the 3rd quarter of this game I checked out because Denver wasn't able to do anything. So this was very stunning to revisit later. Dobbins continues to be productive. Cortland Sutton had 99 receiving yards. Evan Ingram had the receiving touchdown. But I think the most important aspect of the Broncos outside of, Nix's finale of the game is how well their defense played, man. They were popping Jalen. Also, only allowing 7 points max in a quarter to the Philadelphia Eagles even this year. That's pretty rock solid. Peeking at the Eagles now, Jalen Hurts threw for 280 and 2 touchdowns. I think he threw for more yards in this game than he had all year combined. Saquon had an extremely quiet day, only having 6 carries. I was wondering what was going on with that. Their offense as a whole only ran the ball 11 times. Regardless, much like Devon A-Chain, it seems like every time Saquon doesn't do well on the ground, he'll do just fine through the air, logging in a touchdown for his team. Slim Reaper led the team in receiving on the year, and A.J. Brown continues to be a ghost. Granted, when you're probably getting matched up on the best corner in the league for 90% of the game, you're not going to have fun. Should also be noted that the defense was led by the bald eagle himself, having 7 tackles and a sack. And also, you gotta appreciate Cooper DeJean. He almost made a game-changing play early on. He was just a little bit fucking late to hit Nix's arm. Good win, Denver, and the Eagles are human. Now we move on to the Texans beating the absolute shit out of the Ravens. And there really ain't much to talk about in this one. I mean, CJ Stroud lit them up, 23 for 27, 4 touchdowns. Nick Chubb did good enough to fuck me over for starting Woody Marks in fantasy. Thank you for that, Nick. Receiving was absolutely a committee. Nobody did substantial, but everybody was also, I would say, very effective. Xavier Hutchinson having, I think, the first 2 touchdowns of the game was not something I had in mind either. Looking at the Ravens now, because I think it's easier to talk about the Texans defense when looking at the Ravens. Derrick Henry only had 15 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown. But we might actually be seeing the downfall of Henry right now, man. He has not been good since week 1. Cooper Rush was absolutely abysmal, although accurate, I must admit. Just not productive with where he placed the ball whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure Baltimore's defense didn't give a flying fuck as soon as they went into the tunnel at halftime. They gotta be one of the craziest teams in the league when it comes to what they look like with and without their starting quarterback. Without Lamar Jackson, these guys are fucking terrible. Now we've got, I would call this the game of the week for sure. You have the Tennessee Titans getting their first win over the Arizona Cardinals, and it was probably the most undeserved win I have ever seen. The Cardinals literally lost themselves this game. They were the biggest circus act I have seen out of an NFL team in one game in my life. You had Kyler Murray taking snaps to the face mask. You have Amari DeMarcado on a breakaway touchdown up 21-6 in the 4th quarter. Drop a ball once again this year. Not by him, but it's happened twice now before he crosses the goal line. To make matters worse, the Cardinals had an interception at the end of the game that could have sealed it for him, but what happened? They fumbled the interception into the end zone for a Titans touchdown. So bad. I mean, another good game from Marvin Harrison Jr. Congrats. Congrats to the defense on the almost good interception. Congrats to Calvin Ridley on 131 receiving yards for the Tennessee Titans. But holy shit, did no one deserve to win this game. Cam Ward and the Titans continue to look awful, and the Cardinals are just a joke. Okay, now on to the actual game of the week. We had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Seahawks by 3, 38-35 in an absolute boxing match slugfest of a game. Yeah, Baker 29 for 33, 379 and 2 touchdowns. Sam Darnold 28 for 34, 341 and 4 touchdowns. Egbuka caught 7 for 163 and a score. JSN had 8 for 132 and a score. Seattle's offensive line did not allow a sack all day, while Tampa Bay only allowed 1. It started off a little slow, but it was just offense, 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 offense. It was another fantastic jaw-dropping performance from Baker Mayfield, another great performance from Sam Darnold. He is, I mean, just a good quarterback at this point, too. You can't even argue it. It's like Daniel Jones. And we would have gotten to see more out of him this game, too, had Seattle not missed a kick. Seattle, you guys may have come up short here, but you definitely earned some respect from me as far as this year goes as a whole. You guys fight. That was an awesome game. Now we got the Lions beating the Bengals in a game that was a little bit closer than it should have been, except the Bengals just kind of rallied in the 4th quarter there for 21. I mean, this was another surgical performance from Jared Goff, 19 for 23, 3 touchdowns. David Montgomery got in there and threw a touchdown. I didn't know he was a high school quarterback either. As far as rushing goes, once again, led by David with a touchdown. Jameer kind of sluggish on the ground, but finding a touchdown through the air, 1 of 4 to do so on the day. And I see the defense was headlined by the 3 interceptions and 2 sacks on the day, one coming from Derek Barnes, the other one coming from Hutch. Fucking Rockyason. I love that name. Looking at the Bengals now. Browning, 251, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. I've heard his job is pretty much in the air at this point, meaning the Bengals are ready to move on. Now, granted, with that being said, Jamar Chase was able to have a good game out of this. A great game, actually. 6 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins having a touchdown as well. And they also had 4 sacks out of their defense, 2 of them coming from Trey Hendrickson, who I'm sure at this exact moment would love nothing more than to get the hell out of Cincinnati. Another team like Baltimore that with and without their starting quarterback, it's a disgusting difference. Now we got the game that I actually saw the least of out of the entire day, but it's the Commanders whooping the Chargers' ass. I'm not sure what's going on in LA right now, man. I mean, statistically, it looks like Herbert was accurate. 22 for 29 for 166, 1-1. Trey Lance had 4 attempts. I'm not sure what that's even all about. Like I said, this was the game I really didn't get to pay attention to. Looking at the box score of it last night, I'm just as wowed as I am now seeing that Justin Herbert led rushing with 4 carries for 60 yards. Just very unexpected to see out of him. Receiving was led by Keenan Allen. Ladd McConkey, I did get to see him. Not only was he productive, not only did he finally find the end zone, but he had almost one of like the craziest kick return touchdowns I think we would have ever seen. Dude, he looked like he was playing NFL Street, but it got called back. Now, by looking at the score too, I would have assumed Jaden Daniels did a lot better, but he apparently didn't, only completing 15 out of 26 for 231, 1 touchdown, which is fine. But when you look at the rushing, that's where you understand where all the points of production came from, because Bill threw up 14 carries for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's like the first week they've looked okay without Brian Robinson. Like that trade wasn't a catastrophe, which I tweeted about that last week. It blew the fuck up. Didn't expect that, but a lot of people agreed with me, I guess. Debo again leading, receiving 8 for 96 and a touchdown. He's having a very good year. And Luke McCaffrey is being productive as well on a week-by-week basis. And I did see this as well. Defense being headlined by the senior citizens, Bobby Wagner having 8 tackles and Von Miller with 1.5 sacks. A very much needed win for the Washington Commanders. A very unexpected win for them, if you're asking me. And Chargers, you guys got to figure something out because you guys are starting to charger. And ending, we got the Bills losing to the Patriots. The Bills are human, and like I mentioned in the intro, I'm not upset about this. Well, I mean, I'm upset. Nobody likes to lose. But it hurts less when you know you didn't deserve to win, when you know you got beat, and we got beat. Regardless, looking at the Buffalo side of things, I don't hate how Josh Allen played at all. He's getting scrutinized, probably just because the Bills lost, but I really don't hate how he played. I think he made some incredible passes, some incredible plays. Yeah, he might have had a turnover, but he was way more productive than he wasn't. Plus, he also led the team in rushing with some very critical first downs. Receiving, Dalton Kincaid continuing to have like a huge breakthrough year, 6 for 108. Keon Coleman showed his physicality again last night with a dominant catch. He also had a touchdown. We had 4 sacks on the day. We weren't able to pick May off, but we just weren't good enough to beat the Patriots. Looking at the Patriots, Drake May, 22 for 30, 273. Travion Henderson came in, went 6 for 24. After Antonio Gibson got hurt, and it looked bad because he was crying, Ramondre Stevenson, he had 2 touchdowns, but he also had a couple fumbles. Both teams had a fucking fumbling problem. So I'm not sure he's actually going to see the light of day again. And this is pretty much where the Buffalo Bills lost the game when you look at receiving here. Stephon Diggs obliterated us, 10 for 146. Talk about getting revenge, but also talk about stupidity of having Tre'Davious White time and time again cover him when it was very clear he couldn't fucking do it. I'm good. Marcus Jones had the interception on Josh Allen. Patriots were able to get him down one time, shockingly. It felt like a lot more than that. And their kicker went perfect, 3 for 3, 11 points, which the Patriots needed every one of. I mean, you can really look into this too as to why the Bills lost. Again, we lost because we were outplayed. But also, dude, 11 penalties for 90 yards, 2 fumbles lost. We had the ball for 10 minutes more and we still couldn't win. So seriously, great game, New England and Buffalo. We gotta figure our shit out before we have to face an apparently red-hot fucking Falcons team in a week. And that is also going to be it, ladies and gentlemen, for my Week 5 NFL reaction. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you had just as fun watching football this week as I did, regardless that my team lost. If you guys want to show support to this video, please do it, because you know I appreciate it. But with that being said, I'm going to get this whipped up so you guys can watch it on time. Stay safe, enjoy football tonight, and have a great one, because I will see you guys in the next video.